What's a clear sign that you are an unattractive person?
Nobody asks why you're still single.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a tactical nuke.
My 11-year-old niece said I looked 47, I'm 36, and I laughed and said, "Brutal, I'm the same age as my wife or her auntie," and without skipping a beat she said, "It's probably the beard and the long hair makes you look like an ancient wizard."
To be fair, kids have a really disjointed perception of age. Someone they've seen with beard was old. Now everyone with beards look old to them. Ask kids how old they think people in general are, and you get really varying results.
A few years ago, I was working at a school. With a group of 7-8-year-olds, we were talking about ages, and one asked me how old I was. I asked them to guess, and they all agreed I was 17. I was 28. Later that day, I had the same conversation with a group of 5-year-olds, and they were convinced I was 49.
It hurts most when it's family. I'm in my 30s and nobody has ever mentioned it.
It may not mean anything. My brother has either been single for years or he just doesn't share anything about his dating life, and we don't ask him about it. He turns 40 this year, never married. The last time I was made aware of a girlfriend was when he was in high school, and he's not a troll or anything, so he must just feel that stuff's none of our business, so we don't ask.
Yeah, one of my brothers is a decent-looking guy who just never talked about that stuff, and it felt wrong to keep asking when the answer was usually just a grunt at most. So we didn't discuss his dating life for more than a decade until one day he calls out and, out of the blue, says he's decided to come out, which I had kind of wondered about before, but figured it was something he should be the one to bring up, not me. He was, as it happens, still single. He just wasn't dating men instead of not dating women.
A little kid will tell you they're blunt and honest and don't even know it.
If a man calls you ugly, he's an asshole. If a woman calls you ugly, she's a bitch. If a kid calls you ugly, you're just fucking ugly.
Once, when I was unloading trucks for the now extinct Babies R Us, I was putting travel systems up on a top shelf by climbing up on the bays. A woman and her little boy were walking by, and the woman said, "Oh look, he's like Spider-Man." And the kid said, innocently, "He can't be Spider-Man. Spider-Man isn't ugly." And that's the day I found out.
You're not fat, Mommy. You just have fat legs. My kid's spoken like a true 3-year-old.
My 3-year-old once asked his grandma why her upper arms were so big and squishy. I still feel bad.
That's another one. Rather than suck his thumb like most kids do to self-soothe, mine would softly squeeze my upper arm because it was nice and squishy.
Make a TikTok video about how ugly you are. If all of the comments say you're fishing, you're pretty. But if they all say things like "stop, you're beautiful," etc., then you're unattractive.
That's the most Gen Z answer I've read in a while.
Jesus Christ, lol. Ask the internet, they'll tell you. Good way to destroy your self-esteem.
My friend made a TikTok about being ugly, as a joke sort of thing, comparing herself to a blobfish. That video got over 12 million views before she deleted it, and I will never forget the comments were stacked up with the "stop you're beautiful" type people. It boosted her confidence after all the trolls said she was ugly. I'm just not gonna bring up this post, lol.
You get poor customer service no matter how friendly you are.
This is the true one. If customer service workers of the opposite gender are almost always cold to you and you're friendly to them, well,
it's female customer service workers who do this to me. Male customer service workers are always nice to me, but I always thought it's because they think they can flirt with me, and I'll be so surprised that I'll be nice to them, because I'm just not pretty enough.
If the female customer service people are rude and the male customer service people are nice, that means you're attractive. I'm assuming by your comment you're a woman. Think you've got it back to front. If you weren't attractive, the men would probably be normal and the women would be more friendly.
Have really noticed this as women against women in beauty and more luxury type shopping places. I have some very beautiful family who have money, and I've been out shopping with them in the past. All the cosmetic and fragrance ladies fall all over them. The handbag and other luxe brand shops fall all over them and ignore me almost completely, or act as if I'm annoying them when I want to see something. I am not in there dressed as a bum either. I try to care for my appearance, and am always well groomed and put together as much as possible. I don't have money to burn like my fam, but still have accompanied them, especially around the holidays, to help pick gifts and winter things. They usually give all the good samples to them too. I actually avoid Sephora in person completely because of this, but they sometimes have good deals, so the few things I like from there I buy online to avoid the attitude in the store.
The only compliment you get is that you're funny.
I remember in 5th grade, on the last day of school, my homeroom teacher made us write a compliment to everyone in the class anonymously, and then she'd collect all the slips of paper in an envelope and give them to us. All the other girls got compliments like, "You're super pretty," or "You're really nice," and I got 26 slips of paper calling me funny and 2 from my best friends saying I was a good friend, LOL. It hurt my self-esteem back then, and still it hurts a little bit now.
Maybe you were actually very funny though?
Maybe now, but back then I was very, very shy. I think I spoke up maybe 5 times total the entire year. I don't blame my classmates for not knowing what to say about me, but unfortunately, it was obvious they said I was funny because they had nothing else to say, and didn't want to say I was pretty the way they did for the other girls.
Being invisible and never having anyone remotely interested in you, mainly romantically but even for friendship, is kind of hard. Of course, if you are also introverted, the effects are way higher.
I met people after high school. They don't remember me. They literally were my friends, or so I thought. Edit. One person did not even remember me after I reminded them of my name and what group of common friends we hung out with at lunch every day for 3 years.
If you were ugly, they would remember you. You are just average, quiet, and bland.
Yilma, why are you roasting this person?
I speak from personal experience. The worst thing, hilarious from a third-person perspective, that happened to me was some time ago in a mall. I was going downstairs on escalator when I saw an old fellow student girl from university waving at me. I waved back, smiling. When I reached at the bottom, I realized that she was waving to a guy behind me who was also an old fellow university student. The odds for this to happen was so low because our old university was in another distant city. Needless to say, both of them didn't remember me. The guy said it up front. The girl tried, quite unsuccessfully, to pretend she had a distant memory. I left them talking passionately about their years at the university and their lives now. Yikes.
There was a guy once that was hitting on her, flirting with every female in the office, one after the other. We thought a woman just had to breathe for this guy to find them attractive. Turns out I was where the line was drawn. I was the only girl this guy didn't even want to look at.
I have a perpendicular problem. I never flirt with anyone ever, but I'll talk to anyone that has a shared interest. People I'm not attracted to will take this as a sign that I'm interested. Conversely, most really attractive people know that I'm just making conversation. Essentially, the less attractive the person, the more they are sure that my conversation means I want to fuck them. It's upsetting.
When I was thinner, this was a real problem, especially just talking to guys. All I wanted was to be friends, nothing more. If they were average looking, talking would mean hitting on them. I guess they just really wanted something to happen and let that cloud their vision. I never flirted or gave any indication of such. Really attractive people knew what's up. It's made me really dislike stories where perseverance will get you the girl, because while having someone like you can be nice, it's only fun if it's someone you're into. Having someone you don't see romantically be way too into you really sucks.
With regard to how others treat you, no one ever talks you as though you're a potential date. You feel the lack of attraction in conversations with them. It's palpable. They can talk to you about anything and everything with regard to romantic relationships because they do not see you as having any romantic potential whatsoever. They are surprised if or when you mention an ex or current person you're dating because that's how non-romantic or unattractive they find you. They see you as so unattractive that they can't picture you with anyone. You can end up best of friends, but you're just too unattractive to be thought of as more than that. Not only for them, but they cannot picture anyone desiring you.
People kind of ignore you. In social situations, people smile to other people and chat with them and are friendly and are interested in them, but nobody says you hi, or good morning, or goodbye, or even looks at your direction and seem annoyed if you approach or try to get into conversation. And it's the same with every situation. In the workplace, in a hobby, in a bar, even waiters and salesmen and hairdressers and cashiers, etc. seem annoyed when you try to order food or buy a phone or get your hair cut or buy groceries and act rude and or indifferent and or condescending. Don't make eye contact, don't greet, sigh, and roll their eyes if you ask or say anything, etc.
I have a middle ground, considering I'm always warm and nice to customer service, like any normal person should be, and they 99% of time seems grateful that I can be nice without expecting anything else in return. But for sure, I rarely had anyone starting to chat with me without a reason or without being new in a common place and wanting to feel less alone.
Have you experienced different attitudes towards yourself depending on your attractiveness? What are the pros and cons of being an attractive or unattractive person? Have you had to observe how people treat attractive and unattractive people? Share your stories in the comments. Put a like and subscribe to the channel to not miss more interesting life stories.